stop scrolling right now. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the 5 fundamental things that U.S. government moves to seize first when a real crisis slips out of control. And no, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is a documented historical pattern repeated, verified, and executed with nearly identical logic every single time. Often when people feel safest. And very often, exactly at that moment. Here is the uncomfortable truth that is rarely spoken out loud in American society. Much of what you believe you own, you don't actually own. Not your gold, not your food, not your generator. Legally, these are conditional privileges, granted only while the system functions smoothly. The moment the state comes under severe pressure, property rights stop being absolute protections and become flexible concepts, enforced only when convenient. What you carefully stockpiled for emergencies can be reclassified overnight as public resources to be redistributed in the interest of society. At that point, morality exits the conversation. Only mathematics remains. And mathematics is ruthless. Now visualize it. Power outages no longer last hours. They last weeks. Supermarket shelves are stripped bare within 72 hours. Gas stations run dry in 96. Banking systems slow, cards stop working, ATMs go dark. Suddenly, 330 million people are asking the same question: where is the food? The answer is simple. It's with the prepared minority. And that is precisely why you become a problem. Not because you committed a crime, but because in the middle of a collapsed society, your household is still functioning. Politically, that imbalance is unacceptable. When the state is forced to choose, the equation is clear. On one side are hundreds of millions of hungry, angry, panicked people. On the other is a small, organized, prepared minority holding resources deemed to belong to everyone. Which group is easier to control? The answer is obvious. And this is not theoretical. On April 3, 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102. With a single signature, millions of Americans became potential criminals overnight. The order was explicit. All private citizens were required to surrender their gold to the Federal Reserve, immediately and without exception. The justification was familiar national emergency, economic stability, the common good. Citizens were paid $20.67 per ounce. At first glance, it seemed fair, until the gold was collected. Then, overnight, the government raised the official price of gold to $35 per ounce. This was not a miscalculation. It was a legalized transfer of wealth. They didn't call it confiscation. They called it compensation. Those who refused faced fines of up to $10,000 and prison sentences of up to 10 years. And the rarely mentioned part is this: private gold ownership in the United States remained illegal for 40 years. These measures are not limited to authoritarian regimes. They happen in constitutional democracies with strong freedom narratives as well. Because during crises, constitutions only exist as long as they can be enforced. When they can't, they become paper promises. Today, the methods are more sophisticated, but the logic hasn't changed. Safe deposit boxes are registered. Large purchases are reported. Credit card histories reveal exactly what you bought and when. Transactions you believe are anonymous leave digital trails that point directly back to you. The issue is not whether assets can be seized. It's that their location is already known. Food follows the same pattern. During World War II, anti-hoarding laws were enforced across the United States. In 1942, a family in Pennsylvania was arrested for storing excessive amounts of flour in their basement. There was no theft, no black market activity, only preparation for survival. The state's logic was simple. If you have more than you need, you must have taken it from someone else. Modern crises follow the same script. Rationing is declared. Household limits are imposed. Anything deemed excess is subject to seizure. And more often than not, enforcement begins not with officials, but with neighbors. When forced to choose between your privacy and their hungry child, the outcome is predictable. Energy is even more visible. A generator is not just a power source, it's a signal. In silence, its sound travels for miles, but light is the real betrayal. In a darkened city, the one illuminated house becomes a beacon. Thermal cameras see heat through walls. Drones don't guess, they confirm. In energy crises, electricity is not a personal right. It is a centrally allocated resource. Vehicles and fuel follow the same logic. Mobility equals control. When fuel becomes scarce, restrictions appear. Then fuel is declared a strategic asset. Private reserves, station data, and consumption records are already in the system. Communication is the final link. Satellite phones and amateur radios stop being hobbies during crises. They become instruments of control. Because whoever controls information controls reality. The conclusion is unavoidable. Preparation alone is not enough. Invisibility is essential. If you are prepared and visible, they will come. If you are prepared and invisible, your chances improve. Gold should not be stored in traceable locations. Food should not be concentrated in a single place. Energy must be quiet. Light must not leak. History shows that most people didn't lose everything because they were prepared, but because they were seen. The choice is yours, but time is narrowing faster than you think. When that window closes, preparation ends. Only seizure remains. This is the new reality. Prepare, but never advertise it.